My name is Casey. Everything I've built started in a cramped one-bedroom apartment with a broken stove, a leaky faucet, and piles of textbooks taller than the furniture. I was the first in my family to go to college, buried in student loans, working shifts at a coffee shop, tutoring rich kids with chauffeurs, and begging my body not to collapse. But I kept going. My thesis was due in 3 days. That paper was my ticket out, my chance at a future no one thought I'd ever have. I still lived with my parents because I couldn't afford my own place. They reminded me of it every single day. "You're 24, still here, still sucking us dry like a parasite," Dad would grumble, shirtless in the living room, tossing empty beer cans against the wall. "Don't worry, Daddy," my sister Savannah would chime in with her fake baby voice. "When Casey fails that little essay of hers, maybe she'll finally learn to mop floors like the rest of us." Savannah had dropped out of high school twice, pregnant at 17, and every time she messed up, my parents treated it like a blessing. She got a car, I got a bus pass, she got a baby shower, I got scolded for being selfish with no kids to give them. Now, with graduation right in front of me, so close I could feel it, the tension in the house was unbearable. The hate hung in the air like smoke. They didn't want me to finish. I knew it. I guarded my laptop like it was my child. 5 years of notes, designs, 3D models, sleepless nights, and my final thesis lived on it. My project was a breakthrough in prosthetic spinal columns for rural communities without access to surgery. My advisor said it could change lives. But none of that mattered in my kitchen. "You think you're better than us?" Dad sneered one night, grease-stained shirt clinging to him. "Walking around with your fancy words, acting like you're about to cure broke." His eyes flicked to my laptop charging on the table. He reached for it. I stepped in front of him. "Don't, I'm almost done." Then it happened. Not a slap, a shove, hard enough to slam me against the cabinet. Savannah laughed from the doorway, phone in hand, recording like it was entertainment. "Daddy, maybe she should use a notebook like in the old days. Trash doesn't deserve tech." Dad muttered, eyes cold. "Should have tossed her when she was born. Never cried, just stared like a damn leech." I stood, scooped up my laptop, and turned away. 3 more days, I whispered, just 3 more days. The next night, after a long shift, my back aching, wrists throbbing from pouring lattes, I came home to a house swallowed in darkness. Only the living room light was on. Savannah lounged on the couch. Dad stood behind her. My laptop lay on the floor, shattered. The screen cracked straight through. The lid caved in, wires hanging like guts. My knees gave out. "I told you," Dad said coldly, "leeches don't get futures." "Why?" My voice came out dry, barely there. His grin stretched. "Because you got cocky, thought you were better than us, thought you could fly, but in this house, we keep our own on the ground." Savannah leaned forward, smirking. "Oops, no submission now, should have backed it up, genius." I didn't scream, didn't cry, I just knelt there, hearing the ragged pull of my own breath. 2 choices, break, or rebuild stronger. Not tonight, but soon. I rose slowly, legs unsteady, arms trembling. I gathered the broken machine in silence. No curses, no sobs, nothing. That silence rattled Savannah. She wanted a scene. "Oh, come on," she sneered. "Don't go mute now, you're not even bleeding." That's when I looked up and smiled, the first smile in weeks. Because she didn't know the truth. My project didn't live in that laptop anymore, it lived in me, every calculation carved into my memory, every diagram etched into my bones. I could rebuild it. And I would. Not just the project, everything. And when I did, they'd regret ever laying a hand on me. She lunged at me, but I stepped back. "Touch me," I whispered, "and I'll have you arrested." That froze her, not because she believed me, but because I'd never dared to say anything like that before. Then Dad stormed in. "Where the hell have you been?" I turned slowly, winning. He scoffed, face red and slick with anger. "This house doesn't care about your trophies. You still live here, still breathing our air, still eating our food. That's when I handed him an envelope. He tore it open. A check, $10,000. What the hell is this? Rent, I said, for the last 2 years. Every month, utilities adjusted, groceries calculated, taxes included. He stared at me like I was speaking a foreign language. And now, I said, voice steady, you'll never say I owe you anything again. I took my old coat off the hanger. Mom hovered in the hallway, silent as always, watching like she was a guest in her own house. I got a job offer, I added, 6 figures, medical design, full benefits. Where? Savannah spat. I smiled. Across the country. Wait. But I didn't wait. I walked out, climbed into the cab, watched through the window as Savannah slammed the door and Dad kicked a chair like a tantrum-throwing child. It wasn't over. 3 weeks later, I mailed them a brown package. On the front, scrawled in black marker, "From your leech." Inside, my first published medical journal, my prototype, now funded for research. On the cover, a sticky note. "You smashed my future, so I built another." No reply. Of course not. People like them thrive on your silence and choke when you finally rise. They wait for your failure, for your next apology, your next please. But none of that came. 6 months passed. One morning, in my new apartment, floor-to-ceiling windows, sunlight spilling across hardwood instead of peeling wallpaper, I sipped black coffee when an unknown number rang. I let it go to voicemail. It was Savannah, her voice shrill, uneven. "Casey. Dad lost his job. Mom's really sick. I know we weren't great to you, okay, but we need you. Just, please call me back." I played it once, deleted it. The next week, I got an email from my old high school. A teacher who once called me too distracted wanted me to speak at the Women in STEM Day. I almost declined, but something told me this was the moment, the final turn. I walked on stage in a simple black dress, carrying nothing but a flash drive and a calm smile. They introduced me as Dr. Casey. Not the weird one. Not the girl who talked too much in physics. Not the one with the family who never showed up. Dr. Casey. The moment I stepped onto the gymnasium stage, my eyes flicked to the second row, and there they were, Mom, Savannah, even Dad. I hadn't invited them. Someone must have sent the flyer, or maybe Savannah still had alerts on my name. The way you track a ghost you secretly fear might be real. Mom looked older, her hair gone grey. Dad had grown heavier, but smaller somehow. Savannah looked hollow, not broken, just emptied, like she'd finally run out of people to stand above. I didn't flinch. "Good morning," I began. "My name is Dr. Casey Monroe. When I was 17, I was told I wasn't built for brilliance, that creativity meant distraction, that asking questions made me difficult, that standing out made me less." I paused, letting the silence stretch, then I shifted my gaze to the rows of girls in the audience. What I wasn't told was that those things were power, that people who try to make you feel small are often terrified of what you'll become once you realize how big you are. Applause shook the bleachers. Savannah shifted in her seat. Dad scratched his neck. I went on. "When I was preparing my thesis, someone destroyed it, smashed it to pieces, tried to convince me I was disposable. I rebuilt it in 72 hours, not because I'm extraordinary, but because I was done letting anyone else write my ending. I didn't need to say names, they knew." I finished the speech, shook hands, posed for photos with little girls clutching science kits and sketchpads. And when I left the building, they were waiting in the parking lot. Mom spoke first. "Casey, honey, can we talk?" I looked at her, really looked, and saw not a mother, but a woman who let her daughter be discarded so her favorite could shine. "No," I said simply. Dad stepped forward. "We were wrong, but families fix things." I reached into my coat and handed him a flash drive. He frowned. "What's this?" "My new patent. It goes into production next year. I want you to see what a future looks like when I build it myself." His hands trembled as I turned away. Casey, wait. Savannah's voice cracked. I'm sorry. I was jealous. I still am. You became what I never could. I didn't stop. I didn't even look back. I just whispered. You had my parents. You had the house. You had the lies. And I still won. That night, I lit a single candle in my apartment. No party. No press. Just silence and peace. Revenge wasn't about watching them break. It was about knowing they'd never forget the day I stopped begging and started building. The day the leech became the cure.